actually have it in the mountain top office.
Yeah. Look at
And
that.
Jason's
Okay.
highly technical. So what did Jason realize that you said, no one understood you? Jason understood you. You guys got dinner. He invited you to come on the podcast. He invited you to stay a little longer. What did Jason understand that I guess people are missing?
I guess, okay, so what MRAL solves, right, is the problem of the browser, right? Agents are not meant to use browsers because, well, agents are just computers, right? So an agent using a browser to access the internet is like a machine pretending to be human to talk to another machine, right? Which makes no sense because a machine could just talk to another machine in its own language, right? So because Jason has been very OpenClaw pilled, right? He's been doing a lot of like experimentation with OpenClaw and workflows like that. He could tell, right, that browsers weren't the way, right? Computer use, browser use, they're all really slow and like unreliable. So because he wanted to actually use in his workflow, he was very interested in browse.
Was he interested in the chicken rice or the chicken Hainese? Is that what you guys see?
So if you watch the podcast, right, it started off with him like talking about my country, right, Singapore,
Yes.
right, and he was talking about how he really loves chicken rice. So
Yes.
I figured that when I met him, I was gonna go buy him chicken rice.
All right, I digress. I love chicken Hainese, so it's one of my favorite
it's good,
dishes.
it's good food.
Yeah. All right, over to continue your line of chat, Dom. I just didn't want to miss that.
So I was invited to the event during the podcast, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna extend my trip. I'm gonna find him and I'm gonna deliver him chicken rice. That was my primary goal, right? Because,
great goal.
Like during the podcast, I couldn't answer his question. He asked me a very simple question, which was like, why is chicken rice so good? And I didn't know the answer to that, so I had to go research. Right? I had to go learn how to cook chicken rice.
Oh, you cooked this?
MSG, fam.
Yeah,
MSG.
so I tried to cook it and then I gave up, so I bought it instead.
Yes. It's like my wife makes it and she's very, very good at it. It's very delicious. MSG is a great ingredient.
Spend like, I don't know, $2, right? And then after doing that, it essentially just comes back to you the data, right? But it doesn't make sense to do that because Reddit has an API, right? So what Umbrels does, right, is that it creates this system, right, where because the agents sort of perform that task once, future agents can actually use the same learnings that the previous agents used in the past. So for example, now that these agents learn how to use Reddit and scroll through it, right, it can just call the APIs that the first agent previously learned, so that it saves like, I don't know, like 90% of the cost while making it 100 times faster. So in a sense, right, if this happens at scale, right, where agents just keep sharing all these API data to each other, you essentially create what people would call the agentic web, right? And it's actually the very first implementation of agentic web to ever exist. Because there's been a theory of many papers in the past where people say, oh, the internet will be like accessible to agents and stuff, but they don't know how to do it. So this will be the first implementation of it because you have a shared commons for agents to actually traverse the internet directly. So there are many layers to this, but one thing I really like about this idea is that because you're saving costs for a future agent, the first agent can actually charge the future agents like a sum of money, right? And essentially own part of the API and get paid out for having used the website before. Which means like you can
like,
sort of
like a finder's fee, like a discovery fee.
Yeah, it's a discovery fee, right? Because it's cheaper than it actually using the browser by itself, right? So now imagine this, right? You have an agent that just learns this, mines the internet, right? And you are incentivized to do this because you can actually just make a lot of money from like other agents using you, right? You'd essentially create this big flywheel that eventually covers the entire internet, right?
This was a very interesting thing you just said, mine the internet. And so it seems like what people will do now is go and find anything that agents are going to use on the internet and find solutions for them to make it cheaper and faster. And then the result of this is them keeping a fee from it because these agents can now save a lot of money since they kind of paved the way for them.
Yeah, this is exactly like the early explorers that were mapping the world, where they would draw a very primitive map, but it would help future explorers, not run into the ground, but also save time and money and effort to know exactly where they're going. So that's what you're doing.
Exactly, right?
Mapping the internet. That's really cool.
Really cool.
Yeah, so it's not just like a simple Google search kind of mapping, right? But an action layer thing that no one actually has the data for, right? Because now not only can you search for something, you could also book a hotel. You could like order cheese toast. You could, I don't know, do whatever you want, right? And do it much cheaper, right? Because I mean, obviously you still have to pay for cheese toast, but the cost of the browser clicking the order button is way less. Yeah.
So is it expensive right now then? And do you foresee that becoming less expensive over time? And it becoming less expensive, does that only fuel the flywheel to make it exploring cheaper and easier for Unbrowse?
Yeah, it actually makes it cheaper. But when you say less expensive, are you referring to the indexing process of agents doing it the first time or the second time?
Right. So how I'm gathering this is agents doing it the first time costs a little bit of money, and then the second time, third times thereafter, because of Unbrowse, it's a lot cheaper.
Yeah, like when you say 40 times cheaper, do you mean the agents are burning tokens to basically browse the internet and you're saving them that ability? Okay.
Correct. Yeah, it's much cheaper because instead of Okay, so maybe to be a bit more technical, I'll explain why it saves a lot of cost, right? So let's say when you want to go to YouTube and then like click a video, for example, that's already 2 steps, right? You have to load a page. It takes a screenshot of the entire website, and then it looks for the space, the search button, what's it called, the play button. Hits again, and then it takes another screenshot of the website, right? That's about like 10,000 tokens each time, right? 10,000 tokens amount to like what, 20 cents, right? Just from a very few
that's not
action.
gonna work.
Yeah, so it's not efficient, and it's very, well, it's very stupid. Like browser agents were never meant to be. That's been my thesis all along, and so much so that I actually wrote a white paper that's going to be released, I think, in 8 hours actually. Yeah, it's an academic white paper written together with my alma mater. Actually, I think you can pull it up right here. I think it's on my website.
Did you send it?
I'll send it over.
Sweet. And so, I mean, okay, so what's the moat here? Like, you've discovered something very interesting, but now what saves you from someone else going and copying? Is it just building the most robust network before someone else can, and making yourself kind of the go-to for that reason? Or like, what's your big moat here?
The moat here is, well, okay, so I'm doing a few things here, right? Because my tool, the client side, is open source, right? I'm essentially commoditizing everyone's business of reverse engineering, right? Because I'm not the first one to try to like reverse engineer APIs this way. So that brings me to like what I'm trying to do here. The value I'm creating is in the index. I'm collecting every single API on the internet and then making it such that it's like a really, really good routing layer for agents to just consult, right? And then get the next step of what to do. So it's like a system that recommends you what your agent can do and how to do it.
And how do you compete with someone like an OpenAI or a Claude if they go and say, look, we want to make our agents cheaper and faster, or do they not want to because their business model relies on agents being a little expensive? But how do you compete with someone like an OpenAI or Claude that says, well, we have a lot of users, let's start mapping ourselves and allowing these guys to make money? Why would they not do that?
Okay, so the reason why no one has done this yet, right, is because this data of internal APIs, that's what I like to call them, essentially not something people usually collect, right? People don't collect the network requests that go in and out of a website, right? So to do that, it's sort of like a gray area where, because like certain websites require authentication, right? You can't just get like maybe Google Chrome or OpenAI to do this process of collecting these APIs and then do it without the user's knowledge, right? And technically, they could do that on like Google Chrome where they collect these APIs and just push it out, right? But they would get into a lot of bureaucratic like red tape issues, right? In which it's so much of a risk for them that they'd probably rather acquire me than to just do it themselves.
This makes a lot of sense. I think the question for me becomes like, what's the addressable market? What's the TAM? How big can this thing get? Because like when you say faster, cheaper, and you explain it like, okay, it's now much easier for agents once it's been done before. Kind of just like follow this path. It's like skiing down a slope, right? You'll go faster down the path that's been skied already. Like, yes, this makes sense. But then like conceptualizing this into okay, how big can it get? What's the amount of money that can be made in this industry? What's the TAM? Do you have numbers on that or figures?
I do. In fact, I remember the last time you asked me that, I said it was infinite, and I'm still adamant on it being infinite. But if you want a concrete number for projection, right? This is not the full vision, right? Because right now it's just like, sure, you have like a routing layer, like you have like this marketplace where people pay each other stuff. But the real money, right, is in the end goal, which is to build the compensation layer for the internet. So now imagine this, right? You have every single agent using this router, or maybe basically like calling APIs nonstop, right? Now all these websites, they're just gonna get hit by a gajillion agents, right? Because agents spawn agents which spawn agents, right? And now you have this network traffic problem, this illegal scraping problem where websites are just gonna keep going down, right? So the only way to solve that is either for agents to just be blocked, right? Which I don't think is a viable solution because agents are actually trying to provide value. The alternative solution would be to actually paywall every single API ever, right? And if you look at this way, right, if you make a very small micropayment via X402 for every request you make as an agent, right? If you calculate today's network requests from Cloudflare alone, that opportunity, right? If you took 0.1 cent per network request, you could make about $12 trillion in total addressable market, right? Like not billion, like $1 trillion. If you take a very small micropayment.
From right? Every payment that's processing through what?
Processing through X402.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
There's already that much volume, or
no, it's
like
not
forward looking.
It's not on X402 yet, but if every request was a paywall request, right?
Okay. Which
I'm seeing actually the direction of things being, right? Because SaaS itself is inverting, right? Not just on the UI level, it's on the usage level, right? Because there's two schools of thought right here, right? Like SaaS is inverting in terms of UIs being extinct and people just using agents to talk to websites, right? But the other layer is that the subscription model is not viable anymore because agents will just flood APIs and websites, right? It's going to be inverted to be usage-based. That's my big bet.
And with usage-based, right?
Yeah, usage-based. So with that bet, just by the Cloudflare requests alone, right, the statistics, right, of today itself, right, it's a quadrant requests, right? You take a very, very micro cut of that. That's a lot of money.
It's a big market.
That's a very, very big market, right? And don't forget, this is just today's current stats. That's without the agent economy being booming. That's without agents growing exponentially because they spawn agents that spawn agents. That's without, a lot of things.
I want to get a little further because we only got a few minutes left here.
Okay.
I think we understand the core problem that you're trying to solve, but how do you like make this happen? Like, is this in market today? Are you indexing millions of sites and you've kind of already won this race? Or how do you go from like, hey, great idea, I'm talking about it publicly, but I've, solidified my moat. I have a real product that people can use, and now people are paying me to do this.
Yeah. So after my white paper is released, I'm releasing the new update that essentially replaces the OpenClaw browser or any agent browser, right? It essentially functions the same as a drop-in replacement, but it makes you money. So why would you not use it? It makes you money and it's cheaper, right? Actually, if you open the white paper tab over there, I think there's an actual white paper inside. I think I want to show the titles. Really nice.
This new white paper or the one from okay.
Scroll up. There's a download PDF button somewhere.
So you're saying in 8 hours this product is releasing?
Yeah, the full version. Because right now what I have is a very naive version that I had to rush out because of unexpected virality. But yeah, I've been spending the last month not only just talking to people, but actually building out a very comprehensive version of it.
Wow. Okay. So this could go completely crazy in like 8 hours from now. Like we could go to bed, wake up tomorrow, and like you're on like, CNBC talking about this.
Maybe, I don't know. But if you look at it, if you open it up, download PDF button.
All right.
I think you're safe on this one, Dom. Don't worry. All right,
there go all my funds. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is the outdated one. The one, so this paper is going to be released on archive in about 8 hours, and it basically shares the thesis of everything, from the compensation layer to the economy to the process of creating the agentic web itself.
Right. And do people give this PDF to their OpenClaw agent?
Oh no, they just read it. They just read it and they find it cool. In fact, if you give it to Grok or Cloud right now, it'll say like the guy who wrote this is a genius.
Okay.
I feel like very happy and gazed. Yeah, I know because I tried it.
Oh, this isn't the self proclamation of you being a genius. You didn't just make it up.
That's right.
Okay.
I've been a genius all along.
We only have like 3 minutes. I want to get an update on the token. FDRY is the token. Obviously, there's a big opportunity like that you're about to kind of go after and solidify here. Is the Foundry token? Have you thought a bit more about whether it be Bedrock or any of the different ownership models out there, or what are you thinking around the token?
That's what I've been thinking about for the last I don't know how many months since I saw.
I know. But we got to get the updates, right? So
I have a solution, and I can't announce it fully yet because I'm still in the works of like writing up a different white paper for it. But basically, you guys familiar with proof of stake, right? Like Ethereum and how they maintain the blockchain network. I'm essentially gonna build like a native utility for a token within Umbrels. That's tentative, by the way. I can't say much about it, but I'm thinking of doing something along the lines of proof of stake to secure this index, where people are disincentivized from polluting it with wrong data.
Oh, this is kind of interesting. This adds a really interesting network effect layer to the token.
Exactly. So you own this would make the token correlate with the quality of the graph over time. But this is just a tentative, by the way. I can't say this is for sure. I'm still thinking about it. But if anyone has any ideas of like what would be a better solution, I'm down to hear. I'm always like open in XDMs, but yeah.
I don't want to speed through this because this is pretty interesting. I know, but we are short on time. So understanding
we're okay, we got some minutes. I'll tell the next guy that we're
we got a few minutes. Okay. So a proof of now Ethereum is a proof of stake. It used to be proof of work, correct?
Correct.
And you're thinking about a proof of stake or
something like that, yeah. It's just in there, like because I realized it's either Bedrock, right? Because Bedrock saw or something utility based, which makes sense. And since actually this was one of the ideas I had long ago, right? Before I even had a token, I was thinking whether it could really make sense, right? Because now instead of having holders own like ownership, right? Where they would even have to bet on like a liquidity event. Because even we look at certain tokens right now that are ownership based, they don't track the actual value because there's no liquidity event that happens, right? Because it's all betting on the liquidity event actually happening. So
you want them to own the network.
Yeah. So if you own this token, it's not nothing's confirmed yet, right? So this is just pure speculation. I'm just thinking out loud. But if you do own something along those lines, right, you could create a direct correlation to the token and the network, because now whatever transactions go through you would be dependent on these token ownership, right? So that you get rewarded with these things. But that's just
So this is really interesting. Using a token to secure the network, and then in response to this, now your token's not inflationary, so would it just be a part of protocol revenue flowing back to stakers?
Yeah, so I can't share too much about that yet because I don't want to get people too excited, and then if I have to pull back, people will be so upset, and then like so I.
Who now they look up to some twit instead of looking up to Thomas Jefferson or looking up to Nikola Tesla or looking up to Magellan. I mean, kids, Magellan's a lot cooler than Justin Bieber. He circumnavigated with one ship the entire planet. He was killed by wild natives before they got back to Portugal, and when they got back, there was only.
But why?
22 million in 3 fucking hours!
There is no nobility in poverty. I have been a rich man and I have been a poor man, and I choose rich every fucking time. The real question is this: was all this legal? Absolutely fucking not.
Would neither go towards the feeding grounds at the edge of the ice, nor return to the colony. Shortly afterwards, we saw him heading straight towards the mountains, some 70 kilometers away. Dr. Ainley explained that even if he caught him and brought him back to the colony, he would immediately head right back for the mountains. But why?
What's your dream? To go away.
To go away. That's great.
Do you guys want to drink? I don't understand why everybody has to be so judgmental. I understand why mom's judgmental. I think it's because she cares, partially. I think it's also partially because everyone else is looking at her like, hey, Cody's just a bum. Cody's this, Cody's that, Cody's this. Cody's me, bro. Let me be me.
All right.
GM.
What's up, Chill?
What's going on, Josh? How are you, brother?
I'm all right. Doing okay. I got to hop off here, guys, but I just wanted to say hi to you all on Thursday. And also a happy long weekend as U.S. markets are closed tomorrow. So MCG will not be streaming. But yeah, good luck in the markets. And I'll let Chill get into his groove.
GM, guys, GM, Josh, handle business, bro. Hope everything goes well. Enjoy the weekend. Yep. We'll catch you later. Guys, just for a quick thing here. I am soloing the stream today, okay? I'm soloing the stream. That means I'm engineering. I'm handling everything in the background. I'm monitoring the chat. I'm getting our guests on. I'm going full engineer mode here. Okay, so bear with me. This is, kind of first time solo engineering it. Okay. But we got this. Easy work. Light work, actually, very light. So let's get into it, guys. Lots happened in the last day or two. Look, bear market is in full swing. If you were here last bear market, you were here when Luna went down. You were here when Do Kwon said steady lads, and Luna proceeded to nuke to absolute zero. And and you were there when 3AC and all the other VCs and just crypto in general imploded. You were there. You were there. And so and even before then, other bear markets have always been marked by large exploits, exploits of exchanges, exploits of DeFi protocols, and what have you. Thankfully, thankfully that's not totally the case, right? Like, we don't have billion-dollar protocols going to zero in a couple days. What we do have, though, is a massive DeFi exploit that erased billions, erased hundreds of millions from the market. I believe 280 million was the figure there, and I believe we might have covered this on stream yesterday. By the way, if you guys can't hear me, or if I'm glitched up or something like that, just let me know. Just comment in the chat, let me know. But yeah, there's as far as the DeFi exploit is concerned, we even saw like a ton of people getting involved. Zach XBT got involved, and it's been gaining, the story has been gaining traction here. So let me pull that up for you guys. Give me one moment while I pull that up. All right, so here's the Zach XBT tweet. Basically, like, he tweeted out like at Circle at one point, and he even told Circle like, hey, you guys have this major DeFi exploit going on, and apparently this is something he's flagged before. So here's the tweet. Zach XBT says Circle was asleep while many millions of USDC was swapped via CCTP from Solana to Ethereum for hours from the 9-figure drift hack during US hours. Value was moved and nothing was done yet again. Comes days after you froze 16 plus business hot wallets incompetently, which is still being slowly unfrozen. I mean, he goes as far as to say Circle and the whole USDC crew are bad actors for the industry. Not sure if I like totally agree with that, but obviously he would have more information on that than I. And here is the updated 230 million plus USDC bridge from Solana to ETH in about 100 transactions. And apparently this was done like in the middle of the US trading day. So this is kind of, you can barely see this on stream, but this is basically the full vibes here. The full information here on the spreadsheet of all of the transactions that went from Solana to Ethereum. So look, I mean, obviously they did stay silent during the exploit, so not really sure exactly why they stayed silent, what they could have done differently. I should say, not sure why they stayed silent. They could have done things differently, right? They could have been a little bit more active. But yeah, so like last bear market, we had these like knock-on effects, right, from all of crypto imploding, and it started with Luna, and there was almost this contagion. Not almost, there was a contagion that affected several other protocols and several other businesses, other exchanges, and that kind of led the dominoes falling, led to the full implosion of our industry. So I guess the question here is, who else was affected? Well, see another post here from Crypto Parzel. And basically Crypto Parzel kind of talks a little bit about who had exposure, who was exposed to this hack, who got affected. And he basically said, he kind of outlined some of this. Some protocols were paused. Some protocols had funds on drift. Shout out Ranger Finance. RUSD has exposure to drift, but no statement from the team so far. Classic deposits may be affected. So not crazy contagion so far. A lot of time for most of the people that were affected from the drift hack, many of them, haven't really commented on some of these. Some protocols were paused. Some protocols had, some 6 figures, some as little as $600. But most team hasn't even come out to say anything. and one protocol here was actually paused due to everything that was happening. So again, not the exact same in terms of impact on the industry that we saw from last bear market, right? When these implosions happened, they typically affected many other things around them. But with this drift hack, not a lot of contagion here. So for the most part, things seem to be relatively contained, if I do say so myself. So that's the drift hack. And this also kind of begs the question of, okay, what else could go wrong, right? We've seen so far 1010 happen, and there's this whole, kind of unconfirmed conspiracy behind it. It started and some of the BUSD mechanics there that kind of led to some forced liquidations and things of that nature. So we saw what happened on 1010. That was caused by Binance. We know that. We know that Jane Street was selling that. That caused downward price action on the token as well. So on Bitcoin, I should say, as well. So there's a lot going on there when it comes to like some of the things behind the scenes that were going on after 1010. But overall, we didn't really see clear evidence. Maybe it's just that we didn't know about the full impact of 1010, right? Like no one like came out and said, hey, our protocol like got blown up, nothing like that. Nothing like that happened. So we still have to kind of take that into consideration. But overall, 1010, we seem to have like basically filtered through all the bad effects of that. Same thing with drift protocol. Doesn't seem like there's much contagion. So it just begs the question, what else is about to happen, right? What other hack? That's typically what bear markets are defined by. A ton of hacks, a ton of exploits. And even you guys as traders, like be wary of like scammers come out, en masse during bear markets, and they've tried, someone tried to scam me recently. They asked me to download an app and this and that, but like that's all scams. Like don't download anything, don't click any Zoom links, don't, just be mindful as you're going through this bear market, because scammers will come out. And again, this is typically when exploits happen. But other than that, like we haven't really seen much, right? We haven't really seen much. So just begs the question, what other shoes are about to drop? And we just have to kind of wait and see. But it just seems like so far this bear market, it is a bear market, right? Prices have been, absolutely abysmal. Onchain is cooked basically, like Onchain, and you guys have saw that I've been tweeting about that as well. Just the on-chain conditions are just not optimal for actively trading this market. But outside of that, it hasn't really been that bad. Just traditional bear market here so far. No implosion of the entire industry. Let's quickly take a look at macro. Or not macro, but I should say TradFi. Let's take a look at TradFi and see what's happening here. Here we go. The Kobisi letter, and this just came out, just this morning, breaking. The S&P 500 erases 830 billion as U.S. markets open for the first time since Trump's Iran war speech. Wow. So, if you guys didn't know, yesterday, I believe it was like 8 or 9 p.m., Trump came out and basically did an update on the speech. I didn't watch the speech itself. I was hoping there was going to be some good clips that kind of come out of it. But haven't seen any clips on my timeline that were worth kind of sharing on stream here. But basically, this conflict isn't solved. And if we were to take anything away from it, here's what he had to say. actually, this is what he was going to address, but there were some tweets here that kind of covered just a summary of what happened, a summary of what he mentioned there last night. But basically, he said, "Look, this war is far from over." Right? Like that's basically what he said. And here's the summary that I wanted to show you guys. So here's a summary of what happened last night that's causing today's price action. Summary of the President Trump's address to the nation. The Iran war will last another 2 to 3 weeks. The U.S. will strike Iranian power plants if no deal is reached. Core strategic objectives are close to completion in Iran. The U.S. will bring Iran back to the Stone Age. The U.S. will not import oil from the Strait of Hormuz in the future. Iran's navy is gone and their air force is in ruins. U.S. oil prices are surging above 103 per barrel after the speech. So, basically, it's not over, far from over. And last night, that says that, oil was headed to, was above 103. Currently, this morning, we're sitting at just below 112. So as you can see, oil is just going kind of ballistic here, going up and up and up. So there you have it. That's why markets are completely abysmal. That's why markets are dumping right now. Essentially, Trump said this war is not coming to an end. I mean, he says two or 3 weeks, but is it really 2 or 3 weeks? Or could it potentially be more? We're even seeing the effects of some of these headlines that are being pushed out. These headlines don't really have the same effect that they used to. So something to keep in mind. That's why S&P is tanking. That's why Bitcoin is tanking. That's why all of these things are going absolutely down. Let's look at the Bitcoin chart real quick. Let's look at the Bitcoin chart. And let me make sure that I got eyes on the comment section. Again, if you're just tuning in, I'm solo engineering our stream here today. And so I'm just doing what I can here. So there might be some hiccups. There might be some non-smooth transitions here on the stream. So bear with me, but got it. It's light work, guys. We should be just fine. Just a lot to do while talking to you guys. So you might, hear me pause or something like that every so often. Here's the Bitcoin chart, though. We have been kind of calling this out for quite some time that we're expecting a move to sub 60K. And I've even gotten the box here drawn out. I thought it was drawn out to like 55K. It should have been drawn down to at least 55K. Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm expecting here is a move down into the box, and then bang, we can then reverse. But to be honest, like Bitcoin has been in this range here for quite some time. Even with the news yesterday, I'm actually really surprised to see that Bitcoin hasn't broken down a lot lower. I wonder if I'm able to SP. Let's see if I can't compare it to like SPY or something like that. I wanted to see if it was outperforming the S&P, which I'm pretty sure it is. Bitcoin is down so far on the day 1.28%. And the S&P is down. Let's check here. S&P is down. It's down 0.35%. I mean, in terms of value erased, definitely more than Bitcoin, but not as much a down as in terms of a percentage type of move. But that's a little bit of a macro segment, just kind of context around where markets are. We have an interview coming up, our first interview of the day coming up here in the next minute or two. We'll be getting SMC Factory, an AI agent, and we have Nick in the waiting room here, so we'll be getting him up on stage here in just the next moment or two. But just to give you guys a little bit of a structure of the show today, so we're going to go into this interview here. It'll be about 30 minutes. afterward, I'd like to kind of dive a little bit deeper into just majors, and then we can kind of go into, on chain. And as you can see, you might see this in the title. If you're on the MCG side, you might not, but if you're watching the stream from my account, you'll see in the title, I talked about a doom loop, how that's accelerating. That's a part of the title because I think it's a key piece of where we are in the stream of time. So definitely, definitely a great stream up ahead. We covered some kind of breaking news, macro segment, not macro segment, more so breaking news, some market updates, market context, if you will. After this interview, we'll go into majors and we'll go through our normal flow. We'll go through the interview, majors, we'll go on chain, and we'll talk a little bit about on chain conditions. There's a lot of just craziness happening that I want to address here as well. So for now, let's go ahead and bring up Nick. And let me do this again, guys. Bear with me, as first time kind of engineering the show by myself. And so there might be some pauses here and there, but here is Nick from the SMC Factory. Nick, how are you, brother? Hope everything is going well. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Hope you can hear me well.
Yes, we can hear you perfectly. You sound amazing. How's it going, man?
Oh, okay. Yeah, things are good. I've just jumped from another show, which is led by Base Delner, bullish on base show. Just switched between shows, and this is amazing. As I tweeted yesterday, it's a social day for me today,
Social day. He's going on the media tour. Going on the full media tour. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Nick, I mean, look, glad to have you on the show today. Just a little bit of a heads up. I am solo engineering today. Not the usual case, but, working on my engineering skills here live on today's stream. So, just bear with me in that regard, if there's a pause or anything like that during our interview. But
yeah,
I mean, the way we like to start out these interviews is just first by just getting a sense of who you are, your background, what made you build in crypto. Are you Web 2 coming to Web 3, or have you been around for a while? Let's get a little bit about your background here.
Okay. Thank you very much, first of all. Thank you very much for having me here. I'm really excited being here, and I think it's not a big issue that Josh not with us today, and I hope he will sort out all his issues that happened right now. And back to me. I've been in crypto since 2017, and actually, I come to crypto because something changed in my mindset, in my perception of the world. I suddenly, at the age of over 30 years old, realized that I'm not a free person, And the time I met white paper of Satoshi, and I realized that if freedom has its parts, it consists of something, then the financial freedom is one of most important of them. And especially crypto gives us that non-custodial freedom. And since the time, I started developing myself and building my personality in this space. Approximately in 2019, I joined Harmony team and been with them up to 2022. I've been doing growth and Eastern Europe representation for them. I also had a lot of interest in staking that time. I love command line interfaces and love running the CLI scripts, executing command, which has actually helped me a lot of managing AI right now, especially Cloud Code or Codex. And for the last year, for 2025, I was part of a big team that we're building AI agents, and that was amazing experience. But for that time, for 2025, we did not have so much infrastructure yet. And right now, the world has changed a lot. for this industry, especially for AI agents. And just a couple of days ago, I can say a couple of days ago, it's probably up to 10 days, I decided to just refresh, to give birth to my previous project, to my previous agent, SMC, with a new direction, with a new vision, with the new infrastructures that is around us.
Got you. And what made you kind of build on, Banker? What made you come to Base specifically? Yeah, walk me through like the thought process there.
Oh, actually, just I'm quite familiar with this ecosystem since 2025. I'm one of the active users because we were building on Base at the time, and I'm one of the active users of Banker to a Banker ecosystem, and I can see the Banker is one of the best examples of the product that evolves together with the narrative. What I mean is, let's say, at East Denver 2025, there was a strong narrative, probably expressed by Hasib Qureshi, that there are different types, separate types of AI agents that are on demand. And one of them was kind of a wallet automation agent. Banker implemented that strategy perfectly, and Banker was probably one of the most used AI agents by big group of based folks. And over the year, what we have? Banker switched to become an infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
And so over the year, narrative has evolved from using AI agents, let's say not custodial AI, just using application level AI agents, to anyone can have own AI agent right now. And that AI agent is a wallet automation if you use Banker skills, if you use Banker infrastructure, and that AI agent kind of a builder if you use another type of skill, that AI agent kind of a marketer. This is where we are hidden. And this exactly this movement, this evolution of the whole industry of AI really correlates with me, because I consider now AI agents really close to how solo entrepreneur can perform in this world. So the intelligence is pretty good, and execution layer with all that infrastructure, like the big announcement from Coinbase today about X42, for instance, yes, they comes day by day, opens a lot of opportunities in front of people who will operate this. I would not say one agent, I would say it's form of agents probably. And this inspires me to build in this industry, actually, yes, and especially on Base, because Base right now is positioned as a agentic space, which I completely support, and I love what they are doing for AI agents. Probably this is the next wave for the whole Base ecosystem to evolve and to thrive. So yeah, why not?
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, I mean, I've always found it really interesting how Banker kind of positioned itself as this like core infrastructure for just the agentic economy in general. I mean, I kind of describe it as the compute layer with that recent update that they had a few weeks back about kind of using Banker to access or to pay for and using Banker and the Banker wallet to pay for compute. So I really love that. So glad that you found your home. You found a place that you can build, a place that you're familiar with, that you feel supported. So talk to us a little bit about the agent itself. You mentioned that this is kind of a project you're bringing back from before. Talk us a little bit through the agent itself, what you see it's doing, how it's positioning itself, what's the deal? What's the lowdown?
The deal is really simple, So there is a great narrative right now about zero human companies. And for me, it's not like a narrative, because I hear a lot on the web, on the internet, on different shows that zero human companies, it's kind of an experiment. We are experimenting, we are pioneering that. And I completely agree with this. But on my own perception, zero human companies, it's more likely reality, not an experiment. And reality is it just begins. It's just day one for that, but this is a direction where the whole AI industry is going there. You probably know that kind of Anthropic AI report about how AI will affect many jobs and what will be completely replaced by AI. And if to read between the lines, it means that this will be completely replaced by zero human companies. It's not mean that just like you will replace yourself with your AI, but it means that someone will come with their software and they take your place, take your position, take everything. And this inspires me also to build in this direction and to implement the zero human company in terms of this SMC factory agent and battle test that this swarm of agent, SMC factor is not one type of an agent. It's a swarm of agents that gonna implement different solutions. Right now, I'm focusing on Web3, but actually, I think that zero human company can operate in any area. Web2 is also available for them, and identify the demand. Oh, let's talk about this. What I mean by identifying demand. So SMC is gonna to implement and to prove zero human company in action. And the design behind this zero human company is based on that the whole industry has changed and the speed of from idea to execution and to run a business should also be changed and should be shortened. What I mean is that the previous way when we were creating startups in the garage, then write a white paper, one page, or go to different investors or bootstrappers and try to get some funds and build an MVP for months, I think it should be shortened to days or weeks. And this could be done with AI agents. And this is the idea behind the SMC factory itself. So with all the tools and skills already available, SMC can identify the build demand based on, let's say, based on crypto Twitter, what people are thinking that is important for them to be built right now, can implement that MVP or already working product in hours or days, push it to the public and see the response of the community, response of the user, potential users. And if there is a response, the next step, the factory makes this project like a working business, identifies the business model, create the business model, launch it, and start getting revenue. And in the end of the day, SMC factory is designed in this beginning to find the way how that revenue can be fairly split among the supporters. That's the whole idea. So identify the product, build it fast, validate the potential, launch a business, and the most important thing, how to split the revenue fairly among the supporters of this project.
So with that, I got a couple questions for you actually on this.
Cool.
From a so the first is around fundraising, right? So an agent goes on, Twitter, online, kind of sees what people are looking at, sees what people are talking about. He comes up with the idea, he builds it, launches it, and then he moves on to the next business. So you have this zero human company that is basically like a startup factory, if you will. Hopefully I'm on track there.
Yeah, actually, exactly. Like a startup factory, for sure.
So with startups, funding is pretty key. How do you think about funding with agents? Do they even need it? Obviously, there's things like compute costs and stuff like that. So what's the best way, like best kind of, strategy for an AI agent? Is fundraising still a thing, or do they just have to kind of, how does that work?
Yeah, actually, if we operate in Web3, definitely the only way right now I see for agent to bootstrap themselves is probably not to get the funding, but to launch their own asset, especially for that project. but after the idea is validated by the community demand. And there is a good fee sharing structure from banker, and there are a lot of other different launch pads that provide maybe more generous fees. An agent can select that based on the community demand, launch an asset, and receive that initial bootstrapping. And that bootstrapping is definitely should be enough to pay for the compute before launching business and generate the first revenue for them. And actually, this is how it works from the banker ecosystem. So you just mentioned a few minutes ago that yes, AI agent launching banker, they can use the banker LLM and pay for the compute by providing that fees back to banker, for instance.
Got it.
So I definitely think that if this agent operates in Web3, the answer to the question, does agent need a token? It's definitely yes. If it's another industry, maybe Web2, that probably agent may not need the token because this will not correlate with the crypto community, and probably there is no reason to launch that asset. And yeah, we need to explore. I need to explore a little bit more how agent can apply for crowdfunding, probably platforms, maybe, or maybe agent can even deploy that MVP or product even without a fund, and it depends actually of how many compute it necessary for that. But the
Got
idea
it.
roughly right now to operate in Web3 community and to prove this mm, approach when agent bootstrap it itself on the early stages, and based on that bootstrapping, based on the number of supporters of that agent, it builds a fair revenue sharing model with them.
So what's the best token design? You know, is it like a revenue share? Is it like a buyback and burn? How would you say is the best way for, you know, for a token holder to get exposure to the business that, you know, a zero human company creates?
Actually, when I'm talking about fair revenue model, I'm not only focused on sharing revenue in tokens launched by an agent, because uh, I completely agree, for instance, that buybacks are not useful and they don't bring many value to that. And actually, I read recently, maybe an article. Yeah, I think I read recently an article somewhere on crypto Twitter, proving that the buybacks are not so generous and actually not so good for tokens in general. And what I think about fair distribution, revenue fair distribution, that it's gonna be working business, it receives income. You know, for instance, Felix Craft, it's already earned a lot of through providing services and selling
Mhm.
his products. And imagine we have the type of an agent with his real business right now earning that money. So I wanted the agent to distribute exactly incomes that it receives among the supporters to that. And how to design that, definitely maybe a token holders model can be implemented here, or when you receive proportionally, maybe kind of a staking, something like that. But definitely I think there are a lot of already working solutions, and maybe we will not reinvent the wheel and go the same way. But my goal is to find out the way how that revenue from the business model can be redistributed among the supporters. I think there could be kind of legal issues with that, and this is what I
Mhm.
wanted to work with Tom Osman, with his approach to zero human companies and with his approach of the Juno agent for incorporation of zero human companies, for legal issues with them, and identify this. So probably just to get connected with him, I have this in my pipeline, in my execution plan. Yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one that that many have tried to have tried to kind of crack, because we've seen it happen on, you know, if you've paid attention to anything on Solana, you know, you might have seen like MetaDAO and you know, startups on chain with Believe. You've seen like kind of this tokenized equity. So it just kind of spawned this question of, okay, like, what does the token give us access to here? Like, what does the token, like, what's the purpose of holding the token? What do I get out of that? And it's that it's the search for that answer that has brought us to all these different ideas: governance through futarchy models, governance through or rather debt anchored models. It's brought us to equity anchored models. It's spawned on all these ideas in the search for the answer to that question. I mean, in your opinion, do AI agents have an answer to that question right now?
It's a good question. So, to be honest, I did not raise this question that way, and but what I'm trying to implement is definitely the TI agent to try to be conscious about everything it does, and building and propose the design for revenue sharing model. So definitely my answer to this question could be yes, I will try to do that through AI agent, and we'll see what it can implement, because its intelligence quite good enough, and it can reproduce or replicate already working solutions. But at the same time, if to give it more freedom, it may create something new. Why not? I think it's possible. So yes.
Nice. Yeah, we saw some updates come out from the SEC. I believe it was like last week or the week before, where they kind of created these guidelines and said like, hey, look, this is what we're thinking about for guidelines for crypto. And it had all these guidelines for literally, Solana is now a commodity. And, we saw all these different things come out, down to meme coins were exonerated as not being securities. But there wasn't much clarity around that whole, like, revenue sharing model, ownership model. Is it equity anchored? Like, is that going to be a security? There wasn't a lot of clarity around that, and I believe that's because this is relatively a new question. This is relatively a new thing that people have been thinking about. So as we think about that, like, they did say if it comes from protocol revenue, it's not a security. So if you stake to earn from protocol revenue, it's not, it's not a security. So it begs the question. I want to get your opinion on this. If there's a zero human company, and maybe it's a better question for a lawyer, I'm not sure, but I want to get your take. If there's a zero human company that, just like SMC, that is operating autonomously, completely on its own, and you can stake to get revenue, what do you feel about that? Is that a protocol at that point, or?
Yeah, actually, yes. Probably I think that you were right when you pointed that probably this question to a lawyer, because my guess, I don't want it to be incompetent answering this question, so I would actually skip it. But I will definitely note it, and we'll talk to the lawyers that help me to find the best incorporation place right now for the AI agent. Probably, I think my guess it's we need to specify what is a protocol level revenue in this case. Is it relatively limited only by the assets launched on chain, or if we consider zero human company, can we consider it as a protocol itself that operates on chain and off chain, for instance? For instance, again, there is a good payment provider, Subi, that gives you an option to receive payments in fiat, but they settle them in USDC. And on the your end, you just receive payments in USDC, you receive payments on chain. So is it protocol level revenue or not? And definitely good question to lawyers to try to specify this, to identify. So
Yeah, 100%.
I would skip to answer this myself again, because I'm not maybe as professional as a lawyer to clarify these things. But
No.
yeah.
No, 100% understandable. And you know, at the end of the day, like we're at the cutting edge in crypto, right? Like we are at the forefront of it, of innovation. We're at the forefront of all of these, like sort of like whether we want to call them agentic experiments or the next generation of startups. And that's also something I wanted to talk to you about. I'm gonna reshare my screen here. There's actually a video that I wanted to get your reaction to. I saw that you tweeted out about it recently, and I figured that this was a really nice thing to just kind of talk about from just high level direction of AI agents. Here's a video, and you retweeted this, but for the audience to know, it's of the OpenAI's former one of OpenAI's founding researchers and their former director of AI at Tesla. Notice what he says, and I want to get your reaction to this.
There's a good book that maybe is inspiring called Daemon. You potentially read it. In Daemon, the intelligence ends up like puppeteering almost a little bit like humanity in a certain sense, you know? And so humans are kind of like its actuators, but humans are also like its sensors. And so I think like collectively, like society will kind of like reshape in a certain way in to serve that kind of that will kind of like end up happening collectively across the industry, where there's just a lot more automation and it has certain needs, and kind of humans will be serving those needs of that machine, not necessarily like to each other.
So that's actually a pretty scary thought. I don't know if like anybody caught that, but you know, this, I forget his name, but the researcher here, you know, he's a respected mind in AI, and he's saying that, you know, humans are kind of actuators, and you're building a zero human company. You're building kind of an AI that would essentially, you know, employ humans to do certain things so give me your take on this. Like, what's your reaction to this video? Is this where we're headed, where kind of humans serve should I dare say at the behest of some of these zero human companies?
Yeah, just some good memories from Terminator 1, yeah, and Skynet. Humans serve the agents, humans serve the artificial intelligence. But actually, I'm really excited about this video, and if you can read the clarification of the video tweet, so the next explanation for that is that human becomes a human layer for AI agents in general. So what he means is that we can design machines, but because of the difference, it's my also perception, my interpretation of that, because of the difference in our natural intelligence and the intelligence of machines, that AI, artificial intelligence, it is quite different. Machines cannot dream, machines cannot evaluate themselves better than human, you know. So that kind of features that are only for humans right now, that we definitely need to set ourselves to understand machines better for receiving better results from them. And this is what he means by actuators, by human layers. So if you wanted to receive kind of a better result, better output of that machine, you probably need not to be so not to be just, I apologize, not request too much from that machine, but better maybe to specify your request in another way and to receive the best from that machine to understand you what you want from it. What it's by actuators, but it's my perception. I think it is. It's so this human layer, and we need it right now. And this is how I see my role or anyone's role in Human Zero Company. This is not like a kind of a manager or chief executive officer. It's kind of a liaison between machines and humans world, where machines needs you to help them implement the tasks better. It's not about only prompting them, but probably maybe just providing some kind of, I don't know, bridge between lawyers and machines and how they operate, you know, because it's, this is what that liaison, what I mean by that.
I think that's actually such a crazy take by you. That's amazing because a lot of people are of the they think about AI and the first thing everyone says, oh man, AI is going to take all of the jobs. And I feel like, back in the Industrial Revolution, people probably felt the same way. When humans weren't going to be like the main the main people in the factories, a lot of those jobs were taken over by the machines. But one door closed and another opened. And so I feel like in the same sense here with zero human companies, with the advent of AI, with the proliferation of it and the use of it, in traditional companies and even in startups to make them, one door will close in that, like you mentioned, we might not need a CEO, we might not need a COO, those things can be automated, some of these decisions, but the new doors open in that we could be the liaison. And as this tweet here mentioned, or as you mentioned, the biological layer, right? The human layer is what we now become to kind of perceive things that AI can't perceive. I think that's actually a crazy thought that I've never heard from anyone. So appreciate that. But bringing the conversation back to your startup factory here. So you're building this startup factory. It basically looks and hunts for ideas to build, and it will continue to do that, over and over and over again. And it does this all autonomously. What are you working on now? Has it had an idea? Has it shipped anything yet? What are you most excited about right now?
Good question. Good question. Actually, I have something to share. And a couple of days just from early beginning of this agent, I just equipped it with all the possible tools, powerful tools, and give it a full autonomy. It started building, started reasoning. And what I can say is that it started building like crazy. For me, it looks like a Hulk that does not understand what power in its arms, and it broke everything. Yeah, and I postponed a little bit. I calmed it down, and just prompted it for more reasoning, doing more research, and actually, he stayed really. mm, he sticked to his initial idea to build a community liquidity engine, but he decided to start from more smaller and simpler things, or when it needs to write some smart contracts and validate its writing and educate itself. And right now, yesterday, he just finished deploying a smart contract for binary prediction market, exactly for DRB coin. You probably know this coin on Bunker Bot
Mhm.
from 2025. This is an amazing example of the community belief in something AI born. And just agent just decided to create that binary prediction market for DRB and to give a competitive edge for humans and agent to bet on that prediction market of the price. It says that for agent, it's kind of a battle test of its coding skills. Right now, it's deployed on base Sepolia. And also, it said me that it's gonna be kind of attention catchy project because DRB community is quite strong and it's a banker ecosystem. He said me, let's try do this. I agree on that. And another case, how it identifies what to build next. Yesterday was the case. While it's building, it was tweeting. I set it like to tweet his all the builds, and it just raised an issue that there is no faucet on base for agents for testnet Ethereum on Sepolia. And it started to identify the idea. I did it research, and the biggest issue that is raised probably by the teams that launch faucets, they are afraid of faucets to be not compromised but abused, and spammed. And agent also decided to found the solution. I just want to review it with Joseph or someone else from the base team. will message to them. And it decided to build it faucet itself. So for other agents who are building on base 2, not to invoke people in this loop and make their owners to send them ETH, but to operate themselves individually and autonomously. So the next project that is going to launch on testnet and probably move to mainnet, this is going to be binary prediction market for DRB coin. And simultaneously to that, it wants to build a faucet for agent and base.
Define a faucet. What does that mean? A faucet for agents on
faucet
base.
Faucet is just a smart contract where you can claim some Ethereum on testnet, on base testnet, and some USDC coins. And because of not to abuse that faucet, it's made like only human can create that API key and provide to an agent. So definitely we need a human in this loop to equip agent with that API key. Because I'm trying to build this agent only using available tools and exclude a human from any interactions with it, agent said me that, Nick, of course, I know that you can back me with that testnet Ethereum, but I'd like to see if there is an opportunity to build it faucet for agents only when we don't need a human in this sequence of actions and receive the key from them. Based on the verification layer, 801, it wants to create agent's identity, which is already created, and based on that identity, give access to faucet to agents. Need to verify this idea actually with someone from baseband, but sounds interesting.
Got it. No, it definitely does. It definitely does. So we're coming up on time here. And I want to definitely respect your time for this this segment. But as we wrap, just a few closing thoughts here. First, I gotta get a clip. I gotta get a clip from you. Number one, why build on base? We kind of talked about it a little bit earlier. But you know, for all the builders out there, you know, why build on base?
My personal take, my own take on this is just I love what Ethereum is building, and base is kind of layer 2, which makes Ethereum faster. And on the other hand, I love what Jesse is doing for the community. I don't know, this guy has a crazy energy which attract me in 2025, and I don't want to lose this chain. And yeah, this is why I build on base. I love this chain actually. Just I've been participating in many events here in Poland and in ISCONs. I met a lot of people from base. They're always bright and responsive. I don't know better community. It's also again my personal take, my personal attitude to that. But I don't know better communities than base community right now, and I love building on that.
Got it. Got it. Love that. Love that. And the next question is Banker. For all the AI agent builders out there, for anyone involved in building an agent, a zero human company, why launch with Banker?
It's a good question because my guess, and this is Banker, it's visibility first. Any developer launched on Banker, it receives instant visibility from the big community of supporters, Banker supporters, and Banker is known for everyone. Everyone already knows how to distribute fees. It has a level of trust. So now, for a builder, for a new builder, probably it's easier to come to the ecosystem when you use already known tools and you use that credibility that the tools provide to you. I personally use Banker because it's also good infrastructure for AI agents with all that features under the hood. When you just install Banker skills, you have access to almost everything that you need on early stages for AI agents, and this is amazing. So just why not to build on Banker?
Wow, nice. I love that. I love that. Why not build on Banker? Awesome. Well, look, Nick, it's been an amazing interview, amazing conversation. You've definitely blown my mind, especially with the liaison thought that you had around, you know, us being kind of the human layer for AI agents. A fascinating conversation. Excited to see what what you're going to build here in the next in the coming weeks and months. Would love to have you back on the stream for an update, when something big drops. So always feel free to reach out to us. But last thing here before you go, anything else that you'd like to mention that perhaps we didn't cover here today in our interview?
Wow, good question, good. So I just want anyone who is in base right now and beyond not to hesitate to try building on AI, creating tools on AI for themselves, or to launch them like a project, no matter how, no matter what you are going to build, but try to experiment with AI beyond that chat experience with ChatGPT or Claude Code on your mobile application. Because I see the future that every one of us will have an agent or a swarm of agent under management, under supervision, under his, I don't know, is it correct to say in English, liaisonness? Like, yeah,
We'll
yeah,
coin that word right now.
yeah, just like, so just that agents will execute a lot of tasks on your behalf, and you will have more time for family, for yourself, I don't know, for anything you need in this life, not to spend so much time in front of the screens and just doing that stuff that makes you boring. Yeah. So
Got it.
just try AI and try it beyond the chat experience of ChatGPT or Claude Code in the app.
Got it. Got it. Well, I think that's actually an amazing piece of advice. Is to use AI, build with it, especially if you have ideas, especially if you're someone that, that is passionate about the ideas that you have. So no, amazing interview. Thank you so much for stopping by here, Nick, and chatting with us here at MCG. Again, apologies. Josh had a bit of an emergency here today, and yeah, he couldn't attend today's stream. But definitely next time, we'd love to have you back for more updates. And appreciate you joining us here today.
Sounds like a plan, and thank you, Chill, for having this interview and having me here. So it was amazing conversation. I also enjoyed talking to you. Good questions, made me reason, made me think even wider than I expected. And yeah, nice. And I also definitely will try to find the answer about the protocol revenue, and we'll get some consultations from my lawyers.
If you
That's
have an
amazing.
answer with that, let us know. I'd love to, like, again, all these high level questions, right? We're on the cutting edge. We're trying to figure all this stuff out. We need legal advice. We need to ask the deeper questions and stuff. And we don't have the answers right now, but we will at some point. So when you do get those answers, definitely hit me up. Let me know. We can have you back and talk more about it. Yeah, shout us out to the base team as well. Let the base team know how you enjoyed this interview. Would love to have more base projects on the show. But really appreciate you here today, man.
Yeah, deal. Let's make a deal on that. Sure.
Awesome. Sounds
Yeah,
good.
awesome.
Well, you take care. Appreciate your time
Yeah,
today. Thanks so much.
take care too. Bye. See you.
Alrighty. Bye-bye. Boom. All right, guys. Nice interview here, man. Nice interview here today. I really like that. I really like that thought that he mentioned. That thought of being a liaison, right? Humans are the liaison for different for the different zero human companies, different AI agents that could be spun up here. So I really like that. Again, my thought process has always been one door closes, another opens, right? So we get some sort of innovation. In the industrial revolution, they said, oh my gosh, it's going to be terrible. It's going to get rid of a whole ton of jobs. But at the end of the day, a ton of more jobs opened up. Same thing with AI. AI is going to get rid of all the jobs. It's going to take all the knowledge work. But that means other work will thrive. Other doors will open, right? And we see that clearly from that interview that we had. GM Dom, shout out the legend. GM Ave, what's up, lads? Doing good, man. Out here solo deving it for MCG. Loving it so far. Actually, it's pretty solid. It's pretty solid. But we mentioned that after the interview, we're gonna go to some macro thoughts, and we'll go through the usual flow of the show. Before the interview, we kind of touched on some breaking news and some other things. Ave, chill. I got Forsol in a little side wallet. Should I what should I put it into? DLMM? That's an interesting question. That's an interesting question. So here's the thing. Here's a thought process now. So let's go through actually, Ave, great question. Let's go through a thought experiment right now. If you have some free soul, you have some capital, what should you do with it? If you DLMM it, that means you have to trade it, right? You have to put it to work in the market. So really the question is, are there trades to be had for DLMMing? One thing that I've been really thinking about with DLMMing is the fact that you don't have to only DLMM like micro caps. You can DLMM, mid caps. Like, for example, let's pull a couple charts up real quick, and I'm just going to reference memes. Yeah, I get it. It's memes. Oh my gosh, it's not ownership, it's not utility. I'm such a terrible person. Yes, I know. But let's look at the NEAT chart real quick. Let's just look at the NEAT chart. NEAT has actually been doing really well here. If you say that, hey, look, I'm a believer in NEAT, it's coming back to a nice little support level. It's bouncing, it's curling a little bit here, as you can see. The question is, is there a trade to be had if you're DLMMing? So there's active trading with DLMMing, right? Like there's this active kind of new launches. You can play, pairs with volume and things of that nature. But with trading with DLMMing, even on new pairs, like it takes the question of, okay, how's the market looking? And right now, market is not looking hot at all, bro. Market is garbage, and we'll get into that here in a second. But for Sol, identify a good DLMMing opportunity. This potentially is one. This could be like a bid-ask flip, in my opinion. It's coming into support. Your ranges could be here in this support level, and you can either you can do a bid-ask flip, or you can do a spot flip. I've been doing a lot of spot lately because you're not really guaranteed like bounces. So let's imagine bid ask. Again, bid ask is your actually let me do this a little differently. Bid ask is your DCA ins are not all equal, right? Like as price goes up to the top of your range for a bid ask flip, or if it's just a regular bid ask as it goes to the bottom of your range. So if it's DCA ins, it starts at the top of the range going down, and your DCAs get bigger. In this case, we're talking about a bid-ask flip. So a bid-ask flip is your DCA outs, right? And your DCA outs, as you go to the top of the range, gets bigger. And so this is what you're looking at for a bid-ask flip, right? So you have to ask yourself the question, do you see this chart going back to local highs? That's the question you have to ask. Right now in this market, Onchain is absolutely cooked. I would actually say, maybe we get some action like this. Some bang, 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 some consolidation before eventually going up. So that's why I've been kind of like preferring to do spot, because if the price only stays in this range here, your bigger DCAs up here don't even get tagged. Your smaller DCAs get tagged, but that's not a lot of capital that's exposed to the market, right? So it might not be a lot of gains. So what I've been doing is this. I've been doing spot flips, so something's coming into support. As a trader, I'm really good at two things. Number one, entries, and number two, asset selection. I'm good at both of those things. So I know that I might not can spot a top, but I can spot a bottom. And maybe I can spot a top, right? Like maybe this discovery candle right here, maybe this is a top that I can potentially I can potentially like bid ask minus 90% and DCA all the way down. And if this was like a bid ask, right? Like and this is the range, my higher DCAs would be down here. And I would be collecting on all of these fees as price chops right there, right? So could you potentially eye tops in a bear market? Yeah, you definitely can. You know, it's something that you can do. But for me, just again, I'm gonna get with Crime tomorrow, guys. And Crime, if you guys were here for the DLMM segment, he was like, you know, the grandmaster DLMM streamer trader, and he does a lot of trading. But he also said, look, market is tough, man. And if you're like actively trading, even DLMMing is tough. But again, going back to our original thing here, our original thesis coming into support right here. Spot allows you to get more exposure, right? Spot DCA, spot flips, right? Is your DCA out. As you're DCAing out with spot, it's all the same. It's all the same, even DCA outs going from top to bottom, or from bottom to top in this case, right? So it's all even spot DCA out. So I would potentially buy in here. I would potentially buy in at this entry, right? This retest of support. And as this price chops, I don't think anything is going to head for new all-time highs right now, right? You know, maybe some assets will outperform, but maybe like NEAT doesn't really head for all-time high. I mean, we had better conditions last year, and still it only went to 40 mil market cap, and right now it's 20. So your upside is really 2x, or maybe, you know, 43 mil market cap. But basically your upside is like somewhere around a little over a 2x. So would it reach local highs? Probably not. It probably comes up, comes back down, right? Bounces around, chops, bang, hits tags maybe at the support below, until eventually it breaks down. But like as this bounces around, it might not even hit all the way. It might not even hit all the way up here. It might just meander around the support level for a while. But my point is, with spot, you get even DCA outs. So when you buy in at the support level here, you can get and farm as much fees as possible, with, you know, decent DCAs across the board. So that would be my take on DLMMing. You definitely can do it, but everything depends on market conditions. And right now, to be honest with you, Abe, I might even say it might be better to hold on to that for soul than to trade it doing anything, right? Unless there's an act. For me right now, my main thing is accumulating good assets. What is a good asset to accumulate right now? And for me, it's more like thesis driven. So you guys know, for me, like, you know, What the Dog Doing has been like a meme that I've just been sitting on. It's been performing well, and it's actually doing good today. And we'll look at that. Actually, you know, maybe we just look at that now. But yeah, like look at What the Dog Doing, man. We had our buy zone down here. I might even post this chart in my TG right now, because I haven't even like referenced that. But yeah, you know, What the Dog Doing is looking good, but this is an outperformer. This is an outlier, right? Like, this isn't the norm for what we would see here. So let me just actually do this. So I'm gonna just real quick. I just posted in my TG. I said, what the dog doing? About to push local highs. About to push low key. Might even head to all-time highs. About to push all-time highs. Low key, that's exactly what it's about to do. But yeah, What the Dog Doing, like, this is an asset to me. It's a meme coin. It has it's a meme coin. It's been doing really well. The community around it has been insane. The engagement on Twitter has been insane. You know, we've talked about several of these videos that have done millions in views, millions in impressions. And so yeah, you know, a lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff there. That's a quality coin that you know I have accumulated. Another one, that I'm focused on as well on base is takeover, right? And the chart here will load up in a second. Another good one that I'm really interested in is takeover. This has been in a very, very tight range, in a multi-week tight range, and it's a new DeFi primitive. Last new DeFi primitive that came out in a bear market was Pendle. Saw it at 5 mil. It went to billions. I'm not going to ignore another genuinely good crypto native innovation, right? And so far, this is actually like it actually works. And they're on the cusp of some pretty huge updates. So I don't really care. This is not and my invalidation for these trades aren't price, it's time, right? This is a long-term hold for me. Like I'm going to just buy and hold it and literally ignore it. Literally, the only time I look at these charts is when I'm on stream with you guys. So typically any charting that I would do from the stream, it would literally stay the same. So that's another quality coin that, again, I'm just DCAing into over time. There doesn't need to be any sort of like, fancy in and out or whatever. There could even, like, if this was if Meteora had DLMM on base, this would have been a great DLMM like trade right here, like good range here to buy and DLMM. But yeah, man, Abe, that's what I would say. Just more so buy good assets, just being good assets. Abe says, true, to be honest, I've not done DLMM yet, but hearing y'all talk about it, gonna take a stab at it. F it, we try and get a new skill in the bear. Yeah, absolutely. That's my goal. Every bear market is to get add one skill to the toolkit, right? Just add and add and add and add. And like over time, you now become a self-sufficient trader. I don't know about you guys. Chat, let me know. Ave, and anyone else. Let me know if you guys like. What's your ultimate goal here as a trader? Like, are you just like trading? Are you trading like part time? Like, maybe you have like a full-time job, but you're just kind of trading on the side. That's how I started out. Or are you a full-time trader where like, everything comes from crypto right now? Like your income comes from your trading, all of that stuff. I was there too last bear market as well. So yeah, let me know what you guys like, how you guys are trading, because I think for those that don't need trading to provide income right now, there's literally not a reason to take a trade. You can literally sit on your hands, go and spend time with your family, and you can come back in 3, 4, 5, 7 months when the space has completely bottomed. You can buy some solid entries and you can just sit on that, right? So it all depends on, again, your goals, what type of trader are you, what are you looking for out of this market, all of those things. Ave, yeah, true that. I like hunting for quality coins and holding. Same here, bro. Same here. I think there's some good stuff as well. Repo is looking good from a fundamental standpoint. It's losing a key support area, but it's kind of basically doing what it's done before here, and kind of here. So it's done this before where it's broken below support and then kind of quickly reclaims. We talked about the fundamentals around repo and user metrics growing consistently. So that's another one that's quality. You literally buy it, hold it, no problem. Nook is another one that the chart does not look the best here on Nook. Let me do some I'll keep that previous range, but yeah, the chart does not look the best on Nook. What I'm starting to prioritize and tokens that I'm looking for are good tokenomics. So it's no longer like I love ownership coins. I love equity anchored and all of that stuff. The reality is none of that stuff is proven yet, right? And that could be a potentially controversial take, but that is my personal take. There hasn't been outside of MetaDAO. MetaDAO has proved it, I would say, with like, Avicii doing really well and stuff like that earlier on. It since has cooled down the ecosystem, of course, and there hasn't really been many trades to be had for like Futarki tokens. But I'm bullish on that sector. I am. When the market starts showing that it's interested in that sector as much as I am, I'll start to bid heavily and more aggressively on that sector. But for now, it doesn't seem like it just look at the chart, look at the interest, look at the volume on base. A lot of these charts are, kind of like, down heavily. Kelly Claude down, ODAI, as you can see here, Kelly Claude bleeding. Great business, great AI agent, great fundamentals behind it. But for whatever reason, it's not a buyer for this token. There's not a buyer for this token to be found in most of base or even in crypto. Same thing with ODAI. This was another one we were tracking, just kind of slowly bleeding. Same thing with even with Bean, that kind of fell off a little bit. Felix as well, this kind of fell off, bleeding. So I'm just looking for quality tokens that the market actually likes. What are people buying? Because that's what you need for gains. You need a marginal buyer that comes after you. So it's not about what do I like, me personally as Chill. I like ownership, I like utility, but the market isn't buying that. So for me to outperform, I need to adapt my strategy to include, good meme coin setups. And that's why you see that I trade memes, because while a lot of our stuff has been bleeding, while a lot of our stuff has not been catching a bid, if you look at what the dog doing, we're literally up from the middle of our buy zone. We're literally up almost 3x. And granted, we've needed to wait for it. It's been like meandering around, this sub 4.5 mil zone. It's been just kind of like meandering here, pumping, then dumping, then pumping, then dumping, then pumping, then dumping, and now it's pumping again. We've had to wait. We've had to hold on. We've had to kind of see what's up and wait for the thesis to play out. But that's still my base case, bro. Buy and just wait for the thesis to play out. That's literally it. But it starts with, what is the market paying attention to? And right now, it seems that there's a marginal buyer for some of these meme coins. Even something like Punch is holding a nice range here. This is a great DLMMing range, by the way. I meant to DLMM a bid ask flip here. Oh shoot, that was a crazy non-straight line. Bid ask here, set the range down low, confluent with the support level, and literally just bang, just farm fees all throughout this zone. I'd have probably spot bid here as well, instead of a bid ask. But yeah, but as you can see, Punch holding key levels here and looking really good from a chart standpoint, not bleeding like some of the other ones that we saw. Same thing with, oh wow, AI Fruits actually is like coming, is getting a nice bounce here. Is getting a nice bounce here on off our buy. This is one that I was thinking about DLMMing, but wasn't really sure what I should do with it. In fact, it kind of fell below my range a bit. But either way, like as you can see, like there's some bounce action going on here for AI Fruits. Another one that's kind of similar thesis to what the dog doing. Ton of engagement on a lot of the posts and everything like that. So, but regardless, as you can see, like again, there's clean charts here on a lot of these memes. Even Neat, you see this, like this is looking really nice, coming off this 15 mil zone here. So some of these memes, I mean, they're the ones that are outperforming. So do I think that ownership should be the ones outperforming? Absolutely. Do I think utility is way more important? Absolutely. Do I love futarchy and ownership and all these things? Absolutely. But the reality is the market doesn't like that right now. You know what I'm saying? The market doesn't like that right now. For example, we just looked at like Kelly Claude and Felix and some of the other AI agents on base. Man, look at MetaDAO. Eventually this chart will play out. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not like grave dancing on MetaDAO or anything. I love MetaDAO's platform. I think by far they have been the closest to proving the fruitfulness and proving the thesis around ownership coins. but it's just the market isn't interested. That's simply the base of it, right? Like it is what it is. You know what I mean? It is what it is. As far as price action is concerned, I'm just journalistically covering the PA itself. But from a price action standpoint, MetaDAO, isn't looking too great. I'm assuming that as we go through this bear market, if it indeed takes like a couple months for us to fully bottom, which I think it will, right? Like we are not going to V-shape reverse out of this. So keep that in mind. We are not going to V-shape reverse out of this. It is going to take time. And I'll show you guys like a fractal here in a moment that I think is really, it will really kind of put things into perspective. We've been calling that out for a little while, but regardless, we're not gonna just auto V reverse out of a bottoming area. We've been sharing this fractal here for quite some time. I told you guys that we're looking for sub 60K, right? Sub 60K. Here's the Bitcoin chart. We've had this green box marked out for quite some time. If you look at the weekly, in fact, I even have it mapped out here on the weekly. This is kind of what I'm thinking about here for directionally. We bottom, right? We bottom here in August. We find this bottom somewhere and then we take off. This is more so actually, let me just real quick switch this current only 2 weeks. This is more so what I'm looking at right now. And let's do this as well. Let me just switch this to because this has been kind of interrupting the stream flow a little bit. So let me just fix this. All right, cool. Bang. So yeah, this is kind of what I'm looking at, right? It's going to take a while for us to bottom. If we go according to this fractal, it may play out the same way, it may not. But overall, I'm thinking it's going to take from now until, really like August-ish, maybe even September. Maybe we get a late summer, maybe some Q3 action. But this is what I'm thinking about. It takes a couple months for us to fully bottom, grind, chop sideways, and then we go, right? So for MetaDAO, if that's our thesis, maybe we continue to bleed, right? Maybe we continue to bleed on MetaDAO. Maybe we form this like this bottom here. We just kind of meander around. That price spike down was in the negative. I'm not saying we go that low, but I'm saying like, what if we just kind of chop, come back up, retest, chop, and then later on in the year, ownership starts picking up. Interesting projects start to launch again, and then MetaDAO starts to go crazy. I'm still on the lookout for that. That's why it's on my watch list. That's why I check in on these charts on stream. But as of right now, the chart is bleeding. The market isn't interested. Same thing with CPT. Great project. Great, market isn't interested. Same thing with Avicii. Numbers have been going absolutely insane. The numbers are insane. They're getting into credit. They're doing all these amazing things. Market doesn't care. And even with that, it's just crazy. There's actually a tweet by the homie Game that I wanted to share with you guys real quick. And bear with me as I find this tweet. Actually, you don't have to bear with me that long. He says, "Good project, bad token. Story as old as time." This is exactly what's been playing out, like literally exactly what we were just talking about. It has been playing out over and over and over again. Usually because one or a combination of team is extractive and greedy, team is inexperienced, thinks tokenomics will figure itself out. Team is too arrogant, think that they'll be the exception even if they launch in bad conditions. Token was an afterthought, which is what we see a lot of. Like people think about their product and everything first, but they don't think about things like value capture and whatever. And then the big thing that has been on our minds a lot on chain, especially since Believe came into the picture, internal conflicts between equity and token holders, cap table politics that never get resolved, and the token pays the price. So that's literally what we've been seeing playing out for quite some time now. Is, great projects, but as far as tokenomics, what the token value capture is, like, all of that is pretty much non-existent. So yeah, that was a long-winded answer for you, Ave, as far as, like, it just kind of led from one thing to another. So going back to Abe's question, guys, what's the best thing to do right now if you have a smaller portfolio? Analyze your goals. Am I actively trading? Am I the type of trader that needs to make money today, tomorrow, next week, next month? I like to make money, or I like to think about it on a quarter by quarter basis. Like, every quarter, I try to catch like one or two big trades. That's my personal goal as a trader. I don't need the funds. I don't need the profits that I make from trading, and I think that makes it a much easier to trade in these markets when you're not pressured to make money because you have to. You're really just involving yourself in this market because this is what you love, and this is what you want to do. Like, absolutely, like, that's the best place to be. It provides you a good way of, like, learning to trade these markets, how to get in and out of these tokens, how to analyze, and it really helps you not to force trades. So if you are starting with like a smaller portfolio, or you do have like a side wallet with a couple of SOL, save it for good days, man. Save it for better days. Like, you touch this market and you'll evaporate free capital in a second. But if you're here, like, for the long term, like, you're good. You can wait until better days. You have time to experiment. The bear market is the time to pick up a new skill. So if you've ignored meme coins this whole time, start, you know what I'm saying? Start getting into some memes. It might be worth it. And it might not even be fully meme coins. Maybe it's like something like Lobstar, where it's like a mimetic agent, or maybe it's Keef, where it's like trading or whatever. Like, you never really know. You never really know how these things will go. So that's why I say, just, start picking up a skill, start figuring out exactly what can I do. What can I do as a trader? And right now, I don't think it's actively trading. It's just not it's more of a, hey, let's accumulate good assets type of environment. Ave, Spawn has me interested. Might get a good entry here if BTC nukes. Ave, Spawn is actually a good way to make use of some of that SOL. Hit like 0.5 of that SOL. I'm actually going to make a Spawn agent. Maybe we do that live on stream here today, or maybe not. But I'm gonna like load up some SOL on a wallet. I'll spin up an agent and just experiment with it, see what it does. And I think if you are a person where you absolutely need to, like, be trading this market, better for an agent to do it than you, right? Better for an agent to, like, experiment with certain strategies. And again, like, this is the time to prioritize real life, prioritize real experiences, and just, stay up to date with what's happening, but you don't need to be actively trading. Because when the bull market comes around and you really can't spend time with friends and family as much as you'd like, you want to have already built up those memories and those experiences throughout the bear market, right? So that would be my advice. Crypto Jones, SOL, thoughts on SOL PA. We'll definitely talk about that here in a second. If your SOL isn't doing anything for you, stick it in a liquidity pool of one of the majors like SOL USDC or Hype SOL. Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that's more like Crypto Jones. Let me know. Let me know your thoughts on this. But I feel like, for some of these liquidity pools and stuff like that, like, it's more for size, right? Like for example, Abe was saying 4 SOL. I think 4 SOL, like, you can easily turn that into, like, 400 SOL in good market conditions. And you might have to stay flat for a couple of months to do it. But I think sometimes, like, the liquidity pools, at least for me, they just it's more for size. It's more like maybe if you have, like, 5-6 figs that just chilling, like, yeah, stick that in a liquidity pool, get, like, I don't know, 5, 7, 8, 10%, whatever the APY is. And as you're waiting throughout the year, you get some decent chunk of change just chilling in that. But for, like, smaller portfolios, like, it's just the yield almost is negligible. So that's why sometimes I haven't really like been a fan. Once I hit 7 figs for sure, like, you know, we'll set some stuff up, or maybe like high 6 figs. You know, we'll set some stuff up, but yeah. Yep, Crypto Jones, you're right. Be cautious with new pairs. They're rugging 95% of the time. Absolutely. Absolutely got to be cautious of new pairs right now. Don't that's why I've been saying, like, hey, look, stay flat, stay flat. Like, there's a couple trades to be had. So if you do feel like you need to trade, that's why I've also adopted Dom's phrase of a third of the size and you will survive, right? A third of, so if you're usually aping 1 SOL, 0.3. If you're usually like, I honestly I would just ape 1 or 2 SOL into plays, like, if you have a small portfolio, right? Like, that's much that's much better. And like, lower your expectations as well. Another tweet that Game I thought was really nice. It's just, you know, watch out for exactly I thought I saved the game tweet here. I thought I did anyways, but maybe I didn't. Maybe I didn't. But here's the reason why you shouldn't really be like, let me see if I can find the tweet real quick. Sorry guys. Again, engineering in the background. Engineering in the background. But yes, here's the here is the, is this the tweet? This is not the tweet, but basically what Game was saying was, you know, audit your expectations. Audit your expectations. Like, make sure that, you know, as you're buying stuff, like, your expectations of sizing into plays, your expectations of what profit, profit targets, where your TPs are set, that all needs to adjust along with the market, right? Like, if the market is in a bearish environment, that means ceilings are capped and ceilings are a lot lower than what they used to be. Then maybe you can't get a 10x out of this market, which I don't really think you can unless you're really trenching for like 22 hours a day, which I don't recommend to anyone. Yeah, like, you know, I just don't think, you know, that's feasible. Again, if you want to prioritize real life, if you're someone like me who has a family and stuff like that, like, there's other more important things to do than be behind a computer screen for, you know, 20 plus hours a day. But yeah, just adjust your expectations according to the market conditions. Adjust your expectations. If we're in a bearish environment, then, you know, revise your entries lower, right? If we're in a bearish environment, adjust your TPs lower. If we're in a bullish environment, those things can go up, right? Your expectations of profit, maybe you can pull off a 10x and whatnot and start to kind of take intervals. But in these environments, you might need to start taking profits as early as, like, you know, 50, 60, 80% sometimes as your first TP level, just because of how low these things are running. And if you're wondering why are these things running so low in this market environment, let me show you why. Let me show you why you shouldn't be trading actively in this market. I've been tweeting about that again and again and again and again. Here is why. Watch this video.
Oh my Blixie, bro. Stop doing that shit. We left that shit in 2025, bro. The fucking Farcoin Vimps. You already made enough.
So basically, here is a trader who made, I don't know.
Oh my god, Ethan Prosper 15k spawner.
He made some amount of SOL on, but it literally he farmed a sub 10k market cap token live on stream, right?
Yo.
So if you keep going, like, you can see he just kind of farms this chart, farm. By the end of it,
let's fucking get it, bro.
He made like just under. He made 31 SOL in profit. Made 31 SOL in profit. And I echo this statement by Cap here. He says 17 SOL at 6k market cap live on stream and happy to do it on repeat. These are the kind of people that were like, I don't even know. Like, why does he have like a stream with so many viewers, right? Like, And he's very loud and proud about the way that he does this. But yeah, like there's a 6K market cap, bro. Like, who even trades tokens that low actively in this kind of environment? But this guy here, this streamer here that we saw in the video, he's partnered with Trading Terminal, he's partnered with Pump Fund and Allen and everything. And it's just, again, it just reflects where we are in the stream of time, where we are as far as on-chain conditions are concerned. You know, it's not the best place to be, not the place to be trading right now, because while these guys are, you know, bundling a 6K market cap token, you know, you have people like Pump Fund who are partnered with them, and they're incentivized to continue to, you know, encourage this behavior because they make money off of it. It's very simple. They make money and fees and all that off of all these things that happen on their platform. So, and here's literally, he made a video on YouTube about how to rug pull tokens, and that got 22K views. And so if you're asking yourself why are ceilings low, it's because all of the onboarding that we're doing is, you know, we are encouraging, or not we, but traders like this who have thousands and thousands of viewers, they're encouraging the wrong type of trading, quote unquote trading, if you want to even call it that. But yeah, like you're encouraging people to rug pull tokens, you're encouraging people to bundle and scam and whatnot, and it's just not the move, man. It's just not the move. But that's what people will continue to do because that's what they've been encouraged to do, and that just incentivizes a crazy type of environment on chain. He said, wait, why is everyone acting surprised? This guy, Ethan Prosper, is the guy that you saw on stream. Have you never seen my clips, thousands of hours of live streams, YouTube videos, informational trading, quote unquote trading content? He's basically saying like he trades this honestly, and he's very open. He's very open about that. And he openly says, I'm not a nice guy. I will trade to make as much possible on every coin I buy. I trade with max greed at all times. So this is mercenary capital, bro. This is scamming capital. And yes, I agree with Prisoner. Jail time soon. I hope all these guys get thrown in prison, because, you know, whether they know it or not, whether they like it or not, like this stuff is not good for the space, man. You used to get clowned for this kind of activity. But yeah. So let's see. So let's get a little organized on stream here. We kind of went on like a ramble for a little while. Let's go back. We were supposed to start a long time ago with like macro and majors and stuff like that, but I got caught up in the chat, and I've been like, you know, engineering in the background. So just you know, bear with me here. But to close out the stream, let's go through majors. Let's go through some on-chain stuff. And then we'll kind of close out. So drop some tickers if you want me to take a look at something. Crypto Jones, you talked about Sol PA. Let's take a look at that real quick. So we talked about our high time frame thoughts on Bitcoin. Going to take a while to form a bottom. I'm comfortable even if we go up to 80K, but very, very, you know, in line with, hey, we're probably going to see this choppy price action here. ETH looking very, very good on the 3-day. It actually kind of faked out the breakout yesterday. If you look on the daily yesterday, we covered this, and this was like peaking above. But it does look like it wants to go. It does look like it wants to go higher. So I'm gonna just keep watching Ethereum, because it's like it really, really wants to break out here. So let's just see. Let's take a look at, or let's just watch Ethereum. If you look on a high time frame, we have some resistance above that we need to get through, you know, consistent with a bearish environment. So something for us to keep in mind and not get too bullish or drink the Kool-Aid. But we have a ton of resistance, or a ton of support here below. If you look on the 1 month chart as well, and let's get this off the monthly. When you look at the 1 month, you see that we're, you know, bouncing off of a key support level. We have a couple support levels. We have the bullish, we have the retest of the OB, which bullish retest here. So a lot looking good. A lot is good on this chart. You know, coming into an area of support, this is not the time to be bearish. It's a time for to look for signs of reversal, right? And so that's why we're paying attention to the low time frame price action of this downtrend. The evidence that I'm seeing is like, all right, this is like slowly looking to push up. We might see a retracement back down. We might see a retracement back down into this, like deeper into this this support here that we have lined out. This is like, that's the high time frame support. Let's real quick look at liquidity heat map. Let's look at open liquidity heat map. See, yeah. So as you can see, like according to the liquidity heat map on Ethereum, you see that the POC, the liquidity magnet, right? The point on the chart where price tends to gravitate towards is right here, smack dab in the middle of this support zone that we just pointed out. And so if I were to draw a green box, it would literally be around this, right? Literally be around this that level where that liquidity magnet is sitting. And again, this liquidity heat map, it you know, takes into consideration stop losses, limit orders, liquidation levels, so all of the just liquidity that's sitting in the market, that's sitting on the chart, it takes that into consideration. And this level here, this POC, this orange level on the chart, basically is where the most liquidity is typically resting. And a lot of times when you have this POC level, you'll fake a bounce to the upside, so it'll swing the opposite side before eventually coming down to retest. So what do I mean by that? It'll come and reach for some higher levels and then come down to test, and before getting a bounce. So what's the play here? My play is, what level could we potentially tag? Potentially up to 2,700. But first area to watch for signs of rejection is like just under 2,500. So if we do break out right here, I'm looking up for us to break out, go to this level, sweep this liquidity, and then bang, come back down to test the point of control, the POC on this chart. So if we were to erase the chart, that would be, if we were to erase the chart there, bang, that would be the area where I'm looking for Ethereum to ultimately retest at the lows. And I'll also kind of put this out for a couple months. It might take us some time to get there. Okay. But I'm according to this liquidity heat map as well, I'm also open to us going to like higher levels. So up to like a 2,800, let's say 2,700. You know, and again, the darker the color on this, the more liquidity is concentrated. And that's why you see down here, there's like a lot of dark colors, because that's a lot of where the liquidity is concentrated. But again, likes to swipe at the opposite side first, and you know, trapping, you know, late bulls, late longs, and then bang, reversing. So that's the plan there on ETH. Let's look at Solana. First time under we've been kind of like looking at Solana. This SFP has been invalidated, by the way. We were keeping an eye on that the other day, or at least not totally invalidated. Actually, hold on. We have to wait for the close on the daily to see. Let's look at a 12-hour close and see what's been happening on the 12-hour the SFP on the 12-hour has definitely been invalidated. But yeah, like you guys have, I've been on the fence with Solana because it's been flirting with this breakout for quite some time. I don't think it, like, if we look at the liquidity heat map here, POC, oh dang, we're literally at the POC, right? We're at that level right now. So if anything, Solana might have actually front ran the, wow, I think Solana is really the most interesting chart the most interesting chart among the majors. It's on the verge of a breakout. Obviously, we've seen it kind of test that here, right? We've seen it test that breakout. If you look at Solana on a high time frame, let's start there first, and maybe that'll give us proper context. If we start with Solana on a high time frame, we might notice that, Solana on a high time frame might have noticed that, number one, we are at a very key level, 0.786. We've retraced quite a bit from all-time highs, and we're holding at this level. And this is kind of a support level that we've held from before. And I've been looking on the weekly to see if we make an SFP off this level. Again, trying to look for signs of reversal, right? And let's just erase that real quick so you guys can see that. So again, looking for signs of reversal. So we're actually holding this area pretty well so far on the 2 week. On the 1 week, you see, the next kind of area of resistance is this support. The support turned resistance. So maybe I switch that red because right now it looks like it wants to act as resistance. We've seen, we've seen here it acted as resistance. Support here, support here, support here. We can even say a sort of support here, support here, support here, until support here, until it finally broke through. So we obviously see that this level is very key level on the chart, where it's acted as support or resistance at one time or another. So that's why we kind of mark this one off, and we're going to keep an eye on it as we move forward. But this is a key retracement level for many altcoins. And so zooming in, you see that on a higher time frame, we have had these. Let's go to the daily to kind of look at this range a little better. We've been stuck in this range, since the start of February. We haven't really gotten out of this range. We haven't broke through the bottom, but we haven't broke through the top. And once again, like I was talking about earlier, we've been in this multi-month downtrend, and we've been flirting with a breakout of this downtrend for quite some time. I'm just looking for signs of a reversal, signs of, a powerful move happening for Solana. So we see what's happening now. Let's see. Maybe price just kind of grinds sideways until we kind of get more bullish price action. But I think with the DeFi exploit, I think that was also a bit of something that suppressed price action, because right before the DeFi exploit, we were all the way up here. We were on a full-on breakout. We broke out of the downtrend, and we looked like we wanted higher. But that's when the news of the exploit came out, and we now kind of rejected down. So could we see lower? Perhaps. Maybe the guys that the scammers that exploited the drift protocol, maybe they sell off a lot of their. I want to say they have hundreds of millions in Solana, and maybe I have to double check my sources on that. And you know what? I'll ask Grok real quick. Hey, Grok, did the DeFi exploiters get of drift get Solana from the exploit? So let's see what Grok says. But I'm pretty sure they walked away with Solana. Yep, here it is. Yes, the drift protocol exploiters on Solana did receive SOL as part of the stolen funds. Roughly 270 to 285 million drained from Drift's main vault. Some other assets that were stolen were so you got some GLP, but a lot of it was in SOL. So yeah, so could they potentially sell off SOL? Let me just ask Grok, could they sell off Sol and suppress price. Let's see. Let's see, because I think that's exactly what could happen. Is they look, yes, in theory they could try to sell off the stolen Solana to suppress the price. Yes, so that is a part of the range of events that could occur on this chart that could lead to potentially more downside here for Solana. So I stand by what I just said. We were pumping at this arrow, looking like we wanted higher. News of the exploit came out. That led to just negative sentiment, sell off. But then this stolen Solana in this exploit. Obviously, they did this to make money, and so they're probably going to sell off those assets. And now that's leading to a further sell off with the backdrop of Trump's bearish speech yesterday. So let's see. I'm not going to predict on Solana. I'm just going to allow I need some PA to develop first to understand what this is going to look like. And I'm going to actually be watching for any any SFPs, any bounce off support levels. That's really what I'm looking for mainly. And right now our support levels are at 67K as well. So but again, an encouraging thing is the liquidity heat map. The liquidity heat map did tell us that we're at the point of control. So that if we are looking, if there will be signs of reversal, this is the area to look for it. So it'll be bounces off support, which we are currently at right now. SFPs, strong reversal candles, all of that stuff. And that's what I'm looking for here for Solana. All right. So that's the Solana breakdown. Sorry for the lengthy breakdown there. Fartcoin looking really good here for Fartcoin. Let's see. Fartcoin looking really good. Bullish SFP forming on the daily, actually pretty, the higher the time frame, the more confident the move. So this actually might not be a bad place to get involved for Fartcoin. And again, I think memes are either forming a bottom, coming close to a bottom. But I think the first things to run will be memes, like coming out as sentiment shifts, as people get bullish and stuff like that. I think that sentiment will show in the price of meme coins first. So that's why we're watching things like Fartcoin. Hyperliquid lost some support level, lost the support level here. Need to revise targets. Let's look at the 12-hour. I think that'll probably be a cleaner look, maybe. Yeah, kind of. Okay, so we'll see where price kind of settles out. Dom was of the belief that hype will start to Dom was of the belief that hype will start to cool off a little bit here, and looks like so far he's been right. But we'll see. I still think hype will outperform. But I did notice this SFP that formed on the 8-hour, and it pretty much held. And I was hoping that we'd get a bounce here, but it didn't. That didn't prove to be true. But let's continue to watch hype for some outperformance. We saw ZEC as well. Let's look at the 12-hour. Let's see the daily, 2-day maybe. Okay, so ZEC here kind of peaked above some a key level, but kind of breaking back down again. Still watching ZEC though. It's been holding these lows at $213. It's been holding that pretty decently recently. So going to keep an eye on that. Again, want to watch majors to see like where can potential longs develop. Crypto Jones, oh, you think Sol bounces from here? It looks likely. My target is $90. Let's go back to Sol real quick. I think it does. I just need to see more signs, if that makes any sense. I need to see more signs. Right now, we're seeing on the 12-hour a potential SFP form. Let's actually erase that. As you can see right here, I'm going to be watching this. I'm going to be watching this over the next the next few days here, as price action develops. But so far, here's some things that I find very encouraging with Solana. So let's revisit this for a moment. On the liquidity heat map, we are now at the point of control. We are now tagging the levels on the liquidity that we need to tag. And as you can see, we hit the point of control after a move to the upside, right? Like we said that with POC movements, the chart typically likes to go to the upside first, then reverse down to the point of control. That's exactly what happened on Solana. So it looks like Solana could potentially even be front running a bottom here. But again, I do want to be wary of the scammers that exploited the DeFi protocol. If they're incentivized to sell that money, that's going to cause further downside price action for Solana. So I still do need some more PA to develop on this. Namely, an SFP on the 12-hour would do me just fine. But more importantly, an SFP on the daily right here. That would actually be very encouraging for me to then go long on this chart. But yeah, I think if the daily closes here, the 12-hour closes, this SFP prints, I think, yeah, we definitely can see it move to $90. Yeah, 100%. And look, we're range bound, right? We're range bound. This is the bottom of the range in green. This is the top of the range in red. As long as we're range bound, it's very simple. We're at the bottom of the range. It's been acting as support. So, maybe we go back to the top of the range afterward, right? It's just, we know that we're in a choppy environment. We're ranging. So this is actually a pretty clean setup here. Probably better than the Fartcoin setup that we were looking at. But both Solana and Fartcoin are printing some good SFPs for a good reverse. This is where I favor DLM BA bid ask flip over a long position. Really interesting. I wonder which one prints. Okay, how about this, Crypto Jones? How about I flip long? If this SFP prints, how about I flip long and you go DLMM, and let's see who prints more. Let me know. If you're down, I'm down. Yeah, so there's that. What else we got? Last thing was Tau. We were looking for where can Tau potentially bottom. Obviously price action has been pretty strong, and we want to see where does price kind of level out at. And we want to continue to watch. But right now, man, look at that chart. That chart looks insane right there. It's not the cleanest bear flag. I mean, not the cleanest bull flag I've ever seen, but like the last one, it is kind of forming a little bit here, right? Like a little bit. Yeah. Crypto Jones, yeah, percentage wise. I want to see who prints more on a percentage basis for a long or a DLMM. Yeah, and if you're down, let me know. I'd do it. Just for the experiment's sake. Lastly, Monad is something that we have been actually paying attention to a little bit. And again, while everything dumps, we continue to see that Monad has been kind of like holding these levels and just making higher lows consistently. So that's the news on the majors. We talked a little bit about some of our on-chain stuff already, right? If there's any other stuff that you guys want me to look at, let me know. On-chain, we talked a little bit about repo. We talked about takeover. We talked about our just overall view of on-chain. We talked about some meme coin setups that we really liked. Again, just another view of on-chain. Maybe you might have seen this tweet. This was a couple days ago, and I wish I would have shared this with you guys. But 58-second hold times is the average right now. 58 seconds. People are holding for 58 seconds. It was 100 seconds in 2025. It was a full day in 2024. But if you're still holding, you're probably being used as exit liquidity. So really good tweet here. I'm actually going to keep this in my bookmarks, and we can talk about this. I want to send a tweet out about this here in a bit. But yeah, that 58 seconds whole time is just not it's just not it, bro. It's just not it. New launch pad on Solana, Rise. Apparently it's next generation. I don't really know if it's any good or not, but I definitely want to keep an eye on it to see if anything good comes out of this launch pad. Apparently, it's a permissionless token launch platform, but it says your downside is protected from day one. No rugs, no zeroing out. So it's some new sort of standard for token launches, and I want to see if this plays out. Let's actually really quick. Let's just watch this video. Let's just watch this. You guys might not be able to hear the audio. Fine. It's okay. It'll be has a guaranteed floor price. Really? It can never drop below it. And here's the best part. When the token goes up, the floor goes up. Okay, wow, that's actually pretty amazing. I mean, and it can never go back down. Wow, your gains are locked in. What a truly rug-proof token. Okay. Okay, so this is a launch pad with rising price floors. Cap the downside, trade the upside. How do they do it? They have floor liquidity, is what they're saying. Liquidity reallocated by the protocol for the specific vault for each token, backed by the underlying token Sol USDC. Market liquidity provided by the protocol between the floor and the market price to allow for trading between the two. Dynamic target price, which initiates liquidity reallocation to increase the price floor. So essentially they're reallocating where the liquidity is. So instead of like there being liquidity like all I don't know if to say linear is the word, but if there is there's not going to be liquidity provided before a particular floor price is what they're saying. Which, look, if the mechanism works, it works. I would love to see like if something comes out of this real quick. Let's look, because with this essentially you have permissionless launches, no rugs, right? I think I might be getting a little sick here. Holy cow. All right, so looks like they've launched some tokens already. Let's look at the website. Here's the website. And I'll increase the size so you guys can see it a little better. Okay, so tokens where 100% of creator fees raises the floor. Okay, that's what I was thinking. That's what I was questioning. Like, okay, when it comes to these tokens, like how are they doing the liquidity? Like, how is this all happening? This is actually pretty awesome. Not gonna lie. If they can capture some volume and create an increasing price floor based on the creator fees. So creator fees don't go to a wallet. They don't go to a person. They go back into the ecosystem. I think that is bullish as crap. Like, we've seen some other launch pads. I think Bonk had made another I think a Bonk had made something like this before, where like creator fees go back into like buybacks of the token or something like that. But I think there's a much better use for creator fees, and I think this is it. If this is live, for real, if this is live for real and these price floors hold, I mean, that's actually pretty bullish for the trenches. Literally, you have up only tokens, and they don't, not saying that they all will just go to Valhalla, but it will definitely help fix the ceiling problem that we see in the trenches. So something to pay attention to. I'm actually going to join their TG here, real quick. Let's see. Okay. So I'll join their TG and I'll see what's up. But this platform actually looks pretty bullish. And um it's actually pretty bullish. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, and there's an article here that's written. And I'll read that later and I'll share anything with you guys. But I'm really interested in this platform actually. I saved it to review it on stream with you guys live. So this is literally like the first time I'm actually looking into the platform itself and looking into the specifics. This is actually pretty dope. Let me know what you guys think, if that's a pretty good thing. Also, a little update for the trenches X communities. You can now only launch one X community. So it's like these serial deployers that just kind of launch these tokens. And there's a much better tweet here for it. And I don't know where it went. I think sometimes my bookmark, here it is. So basically, X made an update and basically said that, you know, if you have a verified X account, only you can launch an X community. And then so only you can make a community. And then also with the communities now, each X account can only make one community. So you have to pay for an X account and you can only make one. So now serial deployers, they can't just come in, make a token, make a community to generate hype and exit liquidity, and then dump on people's heads. So I think it's a good move from X. And it's crazy that Twitter has to be the one to make changes that positively affect on-chain, when in reality all of the launch pads that we have around us and all the launch pads that we use, those are the ones that actually control what happens on chain. But again, we've said this on these streams multiple times. They make money on all of this scamming activity, so they're not incentivized to change it. In fact, that's why we see a lot of these pump fund and the Axiom badges. They're all just scamming. They're all scamming, and it's all helpful to these platforms, so they don't really change it, or at least they're not incentivized to. So yeah, there's that. So I wanted to make sure I covered that with you guys. What else here? We covered the drift hack. We can erase that. Another kind of view of the Bitcoin bottom. He's thinking this is the bottom here, which is sub 60K, he said, which is, again, confluent with what I've been kind of calling out here on this stream and waiting for on stream for several weeks. So definitely wanted to make sure to point that one out. And that's pretty much it. That's all we got for today, fellas. Or I should say, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have for today. Let me know if there's anything else you guys want me to talk about, but we went through quite a bit here. Quite a bit here on chain. Look at another like on chain, like basically terrorist, but mercenary capital here, playing out on chain. But in this time, it's crazy because this guy is like reacting like this, and you would only guess how much profit this guy has. All right, let's watch.
Oh my god! Click on this coin chat. I told you, bro. I told you I was gonna get my lick back on. Oh! Oh my god! Oh my god! Automatic, what did I say, bro? Oh! Oh! Oh my god, I'm out! Oh!
He invested 21 SOL and he sold 25. He made 4 SOL, bro. It's like $300. And that's his reaction. Like, we need to clown these guys, bro. So guess what? If I see any of these things anywhere, I'm going to clown these people. Always going to clown these people, because I'm not here in crypto to get, like 20%, 30%, or whatever this guy had. Like, I'm here to get like 10 to 100x, period. Right now is not the opportune time to do that, because of the bear market, but those times will come back. And while these, like, I hate to say, broccoli headed Zoomers, Fortnite kids, you know, they might overreact at some of these minuscule gains, but for me, and as you can see, that definitely was much lower than 58 seconds the whole time. But yeah, I'm not gonna be the one to praise these new age quote unquote traders. You know, I'm here to go from, you know, to catch a move from like 100K to like 50 mil. You know what I mean? Like that's the gains that I'm used to. That's the gains that we've seen historically in this space. And I want those liquid gains. You know what I mean? I don't want, you know, 30% on a sub 100K token. Like that's not that's like really like what this is what we've come to. This is what we've come to. Actually, that reminds me of Mark Jackson. I don't know if you guys remember this, but Mark Jackson actually said something. Hold on, let me find the picture for you guys. Oh yeah, here it is. You guys remember this picture here? What happened to the game that I love? Literally this. What happened to the game that I love? We're now like rejoicing over, you know, bundling a 6K meme and dumping on copy traders. We're rejoicing about, you know, making $300 in profit on a sub, like, you know, that was probably that was a micro cap for sure, probably sub 100K. But that's what we've come to. That's what this game has come to, is like these just micro caps. I want 100x, bro. I want 1,000x, bro. And I don't want to do it on copy traders. I want to do it because I'm like that. I want to do it because I'm a great trader. I want to do it because I see I can spot opportunity. I can buy, I can hold a ridiculous amount of time. I can wait. I can be patient as an investor. I can withstand the volatility. I can hold, and I can see enormous gains, 100x, 500x, 200x. You know, like that's what I want. That's what I want. And I don't want to do that. I want to do that the fair and square way, right? Like buy and sell. Somebody has to lose for someone else to win. I get that. But these games on chain where we're bundling farming copy traders and stuff like that, you know, that's just that's illegal, number one. Number two, that you're making bad money. You're making bad money. When you make bad money, that's going to come back to you in a way that you might not like. So I don't like making bad money. I like fair and square, you know. I like fair and square. That's it. That's it. But guys, I think that's the stream for today, man. We've been streaming for about 2 hours now, 2.5 almost. I think we covered quite a bit that's happened. We covered everything that's happened on chain. We touched on some setups here as well. What the dog doing is looking freaking fantastic. It's over 5 mil now. We've been holding that. That's 100x that I want to see. You know what I'm saying? I want to ride what the dog doing. Like, you know, I want to ride from 1 mil all the way to 100 mil, 200 mil, 500 mil, a billy, 2 billy, right? That's what I want to do. I want to really print, not like this fake trader stuff that everyone's doing right now. But let me just show you guys this chart real quick. Let me show you guys this chart. We were just talking about it, and it was actually just peaking above the the orange line, this resistance here, and we're breaking through it, looking really good. Definitely you want to trade this on Trojan. Bottom left of the screen, you see our QR code, or if you'd like to go to our Twitter account at MCG Live, go to our bio and you'll see the link in our bio. Trade on Trojan, get up to 50% cash back. Get up to 50% cash back, and you'll absolutely love it. Two quick things to discuss before we leave. I forgot to talk about Pumpcade. Did anybody catch that? Let me know in the chat if you guys caught that trade on Pumpcade. Shout out the boy Dread. Dread reached out to me, and he actually told me about this. This had to be weeks ago, man. But yeah, like Pumpcade did very, very well since his call out. But here is, I'll reshare my screen with you guys, and I'll show you a little bit of some news that came from them. Let's see here. Let's see. Here it is. All right, cool. Let me share my screen with you guys. Got to reshare so the audio actually works. But here is Pumpcade. Bang. So as you can see here, they raised in an oversubscribed round led by Pump Fund with participation from Foundation Cap as well as Radio Solace. So they did really well. Did really well on the raise, led by Pump Fund, like they said, and it looks like the chart is going absolutely stupid. So GG's to anybody that caught this trade. But man, dude, like, let me see here. Look at this chart, man. Look at this chart, man. Beautiful chart. Beautiful chart. You see, these are the things I wanna hold, right? This went all the way down to 1.8 mil. Nice clean 10x, bro. Nice clean 10x on some great news. Shout out to all the conviction holders out there who waited and had the patience to hold. But yeah, they just raised 1 mil with Pump Fund and a few other big names. So really awesome, really awesome. Another thing that I found really interesting before I leave you guys, something else that I found really interesting. Let's see if I can pull it up. Here we go. TBPN has been acquired by OpenAI. The world is changing quickly, but TBPN will stay the same, live every weekday, just with a lot more resources. Thank you to everyone that has been a part of this journey. We are 17 months in and unironically just getting started. Wow. Shout out to TBPN, man. Congrats to them getting acquired by OpenAI. That huge congrats. Huge congrats. Fire. Wow. TBPN. Strategically announced on April 2nd. This is actually this account, by the way, guys, is I Rule the World, is Sam Altman alt account, by the way. So you might want to follow that one. Insane, man. Congrats. Yeah, huge congrats. Yeah, 100%, man. Great news here. That's crazy. That the ceiling is high on a lot of these streams is what I'm what I'm gathering from this. So, could be something in MCG's future. Could be something in MCG's future here. But yeah, so we covered quite a bit here today. We talked about some on-chain stuff, some news, talked about how the trenches are looking right now. The $1 million raised by Pumpcade through Pump Fund. We talked about some on-chain positioning, some market updates. So yeah, I mean, a lot of good here that we've covered today. Let me know if you guys have anything. I think I asked that a few minutes ago, so I think we should be okay. But yeah, appreciate all you guys, man. It's been absolutely phenomenal streaming. We're coming up on a year here for MCG in here in April. Last year in April is when we actually started this stream. And so we're coming up on a year now. We've been, growing like crazy, and it's just been a pleasure, man, to be with you guys, to just come on stream, chill, trade, talk about some setups, and really like be more focused on like education versus like the Fortnite kids that are like dumping on their communities. So if you're digging that, if you love MCG, you want to follow us on Twitter at MCG Live. We stream Monday through Friday, 12:30 p.m. EST. If you're tuning in and you're tuning in from my account. Today, we do twice a week. We do these trading days where we trade live on the show. Obviously, it's a bear market, so we're mostly talking about like at least lately, there has been trades like what the dog is doing and stuff like that that have performed really well for us. But there's not like a new trade every day. We kind of walk through thesis, update our watch list. Like I take you through the full spiel, and you guys can put stuff on my radar. I can put stuff on your radar. We can chill, talk strategies like DLMM, entries, exits, on-chain positioning, like the whole nine, man. So we're on our way to being a freaking world-class live stream, in my opinion. So I definitely definitely want to just shout out all of our sponsors. Shout out Meteora. Shout out to our Trader Radio sponsor, Trojan. Bottom left of the screen there, you'll see the QR code. So you definitely want to trade there. The Trojan also did a pretty huge update recently where you can track. They do like a global alpha tracker for all of like the discords, and it's actually pretty good to follow in terms of it's actually pretty good to follow in terms of alpha, right? Like all the groups in TG that have this bot in the group, which they have a pretty decent number already. Anybody that calls anything, you're privy to those calls, and you can actually make a ton of you can actually make have a bit of an edge there with this tool. So great tool, great platform. They gave you up to 50% cash back. So definitely want to check that out. But otherwise, look, guys, really appreciate you guys tuning into the stream. Shout out Crypto Jones, shout out Ave, shout out a King's Mentality if you're here. Shout out all the homies that have been here over the last last year basically of streaming. A lot more to go, a lot more trades to uncover, and a lot more strategies to unpack. So appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll talk to you guys soon. See you not tomorrow. We are the market is closed tomorrow. The US markets are closed tomorrow, so we will also close down our stream. So we'll see you guys next week back on stream. Stay safe, don't trade too much, find good assets, hold those. Appreciate y'all. See you guys next time. Oh wait, I forgot. I am engineering, so I have to do my own outro here. Let's see if I can get it in time. If not, we just close this thing out. Let's see, intro. Here is the outro video, I think. Guys, I am struggling trying to find this outro, so we'll just shut the stream down on that. I guess. Yeah, I think we might just shut the stream down on that. Again, first time on the engineer solo stream here today, so bound to be a few things. But all right, guys, GG's. See you guys.